morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I sound like Brother Connie, this pastor from Antigua, Brother Connie there in Antigua. He comes on to preach on a Sunday morning and he says, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, folks. This is THG News Today with Mervyn Hanley, THG Network. And I want to thank you for joining me here this morning. It is Thursday, the 7th of March. If you're a part of the hundreds of folks who have subscribed to this YouTube channel, I want to thank you. If you have not subscribed, please, I ask that you do so. Help us to continue to spread the word. Help us to continue to promote fair and balanced media journalism. And if you're listening for the very first time, I must inform you that this is not your traditional news. It's not just reading a news story. We give commentary. We give our opinion on any news story. That's what makes THG unique. That's what makes us authentic. A network many of you have placed your faith and your confidence. And so I say again, thank you. And if you have not subscribed, please remember to do so before you leave today. Please, I ask for you that you like and you subscribe. There goes the bell. That means you should subscribe, right?
Nevis, satisfy your sweet tooth at Feaser's, the cozy spot in Charlestown, known for its mouth-watering ice cream and dal parade. We are open Monday to Saturday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Come in and sample our patties, sandwiches, air-fried wings with fries, hot dogs, rotis, and now our famous smoothies, in all flavors, of course. And don't forget to try the famous bus-up shut and saltfish. It's Feaser's, located at the entrance to the Cotton Ginnery Mall in Charlestown, Nevis. They're also available by phone, so place your order by calling 1-869-665-2458. Don't ask about the rest, just try the best.
Now, lots happening that I cannot speak on today, but just a few stories I'd like to share with you. So let's get to our first story. There was a press release, a press statement, which I'm not going to read, but more so I will show you a clip from yesterday's press briefing with the former Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris. He and his party, they had a press conference Tuesday, and I believe that the former Prime Minister, he's not letting up on Prime Minister Drew. He's not letting Prime Minister Drew off the hook because of the salary increases. That is the hot topic around town in St. Kitts and Nevis, about the ministers and the government parliamentarians receiving salary increases up to 33%. This review, though, of the salaries that they used, of course, some will say it's outdated, but this was back in 2019 when all this started. And it was under the former Prime Minister, Timothy Harris, who is now criticizing it. But he, of course, has given his reasons why he's criticizing it now. So I just want to put things into perspective. It was Prime Minister Harris and his cabinet that we saw a salary review commission back in 2018. But I'm not going to talk anymore about this. I will let you hear from the former Prime Minister, and then I will be right back with a comment and perhaps a question. Let's hear from former Prime Minister Harris.
While they are taking thousands of dollars extra, they are denying the mother with 2 children, $500. But they could get an increase of $4,000, $3,600 extra. But for many people, the PAP is the only thing sure they had to rely upon. Imagine this government, while giving themselves 36% increase, took an 84-year-old grandmother and is not one, many more, of the PAP program. Imagine this government, while taking thousands of dollars extra from the Treasury, have basically, well, look at the double amputee out of Nevis. Took the man off the PAP. The man can't work anywhere. Not at his age, not with his disabilities. And despite he went on radio, spoke to them, they removed the gentleman off the PAP program. So yes, We have a government that we do not deserve. And one is not here saying that it should never get an increase. But timing is important. The quantum is important. The communication of it is important. And in all these dimensions, the Jew administration got a failing grade. Dr. Jew's income takeaway is $265,200. What? You better believe it. Why is right? $265,200. Dr. Jew annual income is, while poor men and women are struggling. The Prime Minister says that he needs more than what he is getting. And he will not work for less than $265,200. How do you maintain your sanity when you reflect upon that? And he is living in a government house that costs somewhere at Beacon Heights maybe $20,000 a month. It was a house that was built and delivered for judges. They made the judge move because the Prime Minister wanted to leave St. Peter's. He said the people up there to beg with his forwardness. So he wants to move. And the public gave him a benefit. Nobody begrudged him that. But all these things you have to take into account when you are making decisions.
Okay, former Prime Minister. But I would have preferred to ask you in an interview discussion. Regrettably, that's not the case. Because while you complain and being the strong voice for the care and the needy, and while some may argue that they understand and agree with you, are you, former Prime Minister Harris, will you accept this pay increase at the end of the month? Because you're doing a lot of talking and you're sounding very strong on behalf of the people. And that's all well and good. But you too, not just the ministers, you too as a parliamentarian, you are receiving a pay increase. So I must ask, will you accept it? If so, do you still consider yourself the right messenger and defender? Do you? I guess I'll hear from you soon on that question. Now we move on to Trinidad and Tobago, and it's the saddest story, actually. Devastating. A 2-month-old baby died at the Siparia Health Facility on Tuesday night after she was brought in unresponsive with head injuries. 2-month-old, huh? 2 months. Police are awaiting the results of an autopsy at the Forensic Science Center to determine what caused her death. Police inquiries revealed that around 4:55 p.m., the 25-year-old mother saw her baby, according to the mother, lying in a bedroom in the Penal Rock Road home. When the mother checked on the infant about 30 minutes after 5 p.m., she saw her bleeding from a cut to the top of her head. The mother contacted the child's grandmother, a patient care assistant who was at work. The baby's mother and father then placed the plaster on the child's head while they waited for the grandmother, who got home around 7:20 p.m. So you noticed your child just after 5 with cuts and all of that in the head or whatever. But instead of calling 911, you decided to wait on your grandmother at 7:20 p.m., 2 hours after. Let's continue. So the grandmother got home and they took the baby to the health facility where she died around 8:28 p.m. The baby had a 2 centimeters laceration to the top of her head and just bumps and bruises throughout parts of her head. And then the infant also had what they call raccoon eyes. And raccoon eyes are bruises around the eyes where blood pools under the skin, according to a medical website. So the officers of the Southwestern Division and Homicide visited the scene, and the Child Protection Unit is also involved in the investigation. I see where this is headed, but I'm going to be a responsible media outlet and we're not going to go down that road. But I believe that my audience, I think we kind of have an idea of what took place, and it is very sad. But again, we're not going to get into that. We let the police do their work, and then any updated information on that we'll present to you. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, now, folks, we here at THG Network, THG News Today, we believe that we should also report to you what's happening in the diaspora, as we also cater to our Caribbean brothers and sisters there. And from the analytics and from what we can see behind the scenes, 25% of viewers and listeners of THG News Today, THG Network, are from the United States and Canada. 25%. So we would like to share with you what's happening in your neck of the woods as Caribbean people. So let's hear from the governor of New York, and we'll be right back after this.
Over the weekend, a man was kicked onto the tracks at Penn Station. 3 people rushed to save him, pull him back into safety. That's the New York I know. When someone's in trouble, total strangers, they come to the rescue, no hesitation. That's the true heart of New York. And let me just be very, very clear. These brazen, heinous attacks on our subway system will not be tolerated.
That's Governor Hochul for you, speaking of the recent high-profile crimes in New York City on the subway system, and that prompted her on Wednesday to send National Guard members into the sprawling underground network. Now, the governor is ordering a force of nearly 1,000 people, comprised of 750 National Guard members, state police and MTA officers to conduct back checks at some of the busiest stations. The effort, Hochul said, is aimed to rid our subways of people who commit crimes and to protect all New Yorkers, whether you're a commuter or a transit worker. No one heading to their job or visit a family or should go to a doctor appointment should worry that a person sitting next to them possessed a deadly weapon, she told reporters. This past Sunday, a 64-year-old man was checking his phone when he was kicked into the tracks at Penn Station before Good Samaritans helped get him out of harm's way. And last Friday, a 27-year-old man was slashed aboard a northbound A train in Manhattan after the perpetrator allegedly made homophobic comments at him. And on Thursday, February 29th, a subway conductor was slashed in the neck. A subway conductor, A subway conductor was slashed in the neck in Brooklyn when he stuck his head out of a southbound C train at Rockaway Avenue Station in Brooklyn. The conductors will normally, before they close the door or before they take off to go to the next stop, they will put their head out of the window just to make sure that the coast is clear for them to take off. And here it is, one conductor did that in Brooklyn and he got his neck slashed. And that is what is happening in New York City. I'm asking all those of you in the diaspora to keep safe, be alert. Yes, you cannot live in fear and all of that, but you also have to use wisdom. Yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, our news this morning was brought to you with the kind of compliments of Carl & Sons on St. Martin and, of course, Feezers on Nevis. Do join me again tomorrow morning, God's willing, at 6 o'clock for a similar presentation. Have a good day, everyone.
Carl & Sons have been serving the people of St. Martin for over 40 years. And the food and service get better and better. From early morning, customers flock to the bakery for their favorite sandwiches, cakes, pastries, you name it. First thing at mornings and last thing at afternoons, folks rush to Carl & Sons for simply the best. There are 2 locations, Colbay and on the Punfill. In Colbay, the opening hours are Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. On Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sundays, 6:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. Opening hours on the Punfill, Monday to Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. We also cater for weddings, parties, special events, whatever the occasion. It's Carl & Sons. Our staff, we are always happy to serve you. Call us today, the Colbay location, 721-544-2462. That's 721-544-2462. Or in Phillipsburg, 721-543-1059. That's 721-543-1059. It's Carl & Sons Bakery. We are here to serve you.